a360 is it's a very large company with amazing titles, and the titles alone people resonate with, like Us Weekly per se. Like there's this audience that has just grown up with it. So very loyal audiences and very well-known titles. A lot of print beyond that. We still have many more print publications than we do digital. And print is kind of infused in a lot of things that you see. So yes, I came in 2018 and we started across, at that time we had 16 digital publications. We've sold some, combined some, bought some, et cetera, and now we're at about 19. It was a great year to start, 2018, before the pandemic, but just in general, it was everything was moving forward in affiliate, and we were profitable the first quarter, and we just continue to try to scale up revenue with a small team and everything like that, and see what other opportunities there are out there in the future that we should be looking at. We've gone through a handful of different transitions. We were acquired 2020. Or merged together, acquired, and then we acquired some new sites recently with the Bauer acquisition. So it's constantly changing, it's constantly growing, but it's a very large company, and everything has a lot of opportunity, but it also sometimes operates a little bit historically. When you're talking to people with a print mindset, it like trying to explain affiliate is just it's like a different language. So it's a lot of explaining, but in a good way. I came on 2018 in February. Our fiscal year started in April. The first day there, we hadn't hired writers yet, and this is the company. I'm in an executive's office, and they're like, "Make money. How do we make money today? What do we do today? What can we do today?" And I'm like, "Okay." And I was just, we had some content on the site that had links out, and we had skim links on. So I was like, "Just give me newsletters. I'll tell you what to put in it. We'll start with that." And it was literally like, we have to make money this day. So that was a lot of the start of this, is just be profitable, which I get, because a lot of the company for a while, it kind of operated like a hedge fund. It was just very detail oriented when it came to finances. And because of that, we just learned how to make money pretty fast. So, we started with a smaller team. We used the skim links and things like that to start, just to get some data to see what was working, what wasn't, and test things. And then we broke out into the networks about 6 months later, and that's when we started working with Trackonomics for all of that. When we had our first paid placement per se, that was in, I think, October of 2018. And at the time, I was working with our CIO directly, and I kind of showed him the 10 grand IO or something. He's like, "Oh," and we called finance people in, and they were like, "This is another revenue stream to this division that will help us." The first year we had to hit $1 million. That's going to help us hit this. So that was just eye-opening to everyone that we could do that. And then in addition to that, some of the first things we did were with Saks, Nordstrom, those kind of retailers, and they wanted some digital and some affiliate. So it was like, oh, here's another revenue channel for the company to come sell. It hits a lot of different markers, and sometimes advertisers come in looking for through affiliate, or they come in from print and then they go to affiliate. It can go all over. But it's become a marketing channel, and one that kind of fuses a lot of different divisions together. I remember being at some publications years ago, and it was like, "Please put a buy button. Please just put a buy button. You have reviewed something for a month. This is your job. Just put a buy button." And I get it too, because I came from Editorial years ago. It's like, no, I don't want you doing that to my content and everything. And so I think that took a few years to get sorted out, where Editorial understands this now, and it's not. There's still some pushback, but it's not as bad as that. And because that is more relaxed, and sometimes Editorial will go into regular commerce will go into regular Editorial, there's more opportunity, and we can see things that we might not have seen before, and we see things that are converting we would never think to test just because our news team wrote about it. I think with the publisher strategy, I think that we've been looking at content for a long time, and that's great, and it's content, but it's also getting the right content there and the right mindset. So I would go in and I would ask the company 2 questions to start. I would say, will the content be seen? Do we have ways to show it? How to drive traffic to it? is it going to be seen? You can create the best piece of content about selling something, but it doesn't matter if nobody sees it. And I would also ask, are people on board with this? These sound like basic questions, but like those are the two most important things, and I think those should be like discussed in detail to start something. And then after that, I would say, look at what's happening. Like, where are the traffic sources? Start testing immediately, test everything, test different things. Like, one of the first things we sold the first week was a mattress, and I was like, really? Like, that's okay. So I just test and see. And actually, so sleep does really well on our sites. Like, any sleep product, which is a weird category to tell, like, impact and like any other like network. I'm like, find me sleep products, please. Like, but like it's helpful to know. So test, and make friendships, make partnerships. Get on the phone, or like I like the phone better, Zoom now, and just like talk, and don't sit behind your computer. I think that's the worst thing, especially if you're running this, to do, is just to sit behind a computer, because that's great for a while, but you need to build it beyond what you can do on a screen. So I think it's understanding your audience. And I think for a long time, it was the Amazon thing, the cookie game. Like, how many cookies can I get out, right? Like, today, this 24 hours. And I think publishers are, seeing the influencers happening, and they're like, okay, well, we own this audience. We need to monetize this and make this an asset as best as possible. So I think it's kind of turning back to be like, what do we have to offer? And is email better, or social, or anything like that? And monetizing that. I think it's just a constant strategy and constant testing. And the other thing is, when as this gets bigger and people see commerce content everywhere, it adapts. So something that used to work 4 years ago, because like I see one buy button, might not work now because they expect it to be up here. And like, you have to constantly be testing what's working and what's not, with the layout, with the advertisers, just everything else. So it's an always testing thing. I'm really big on trying to train my team to, like, if something's working, like, what else does that mean they want to buy? If someone's buying shoes, do their feet hurt? Like, do they need, like, I need Band-Aids if I wear these shoes on my toes. Like, what else can we cater to? Because at the end of the day, like, you're solving problems for people, and everyone, they don't know they have the problem, but like that they do, and it can't just be like, this is blue and it's short and it's a dress. Like, it has to solve a problem. And I think you can position that a million different ways, but as long as like you're reinforcing, it's service journalism, you're trying to help, that's important. And just like look for other things that logically make sense after they buy something. I just think we're going through interesting times. We had the pandemic, we're probably gonna have a recession or something coming up. And I think it's just it's going to weed out people, and it might be a good thing. I don't mean that meanly. I just mean that I think it was a little easy for a little bit, and not that it should be difficult, but it shouldn't be so straightforward. I think in affiliate in general, when you start to automate things, when you start to do things without people involved, it might work, and then it kind of plateaus. And I think it's important that this industry, stays where you talk on the phone and we're not just like chatting. And I think we're going to see more of that, because it's going to be needed coming up. I would also beg to differ, like, what's not going to change? And maybe that's the most important thing. Is it the partnerships? Is it just how we do things? Maybe we're going too far trying to test like video on social with an influencer with 10 other things. Like, maybe we just go back to the basics. So I think it will be good, and I think it might be a little challenging, but I think it will bring out more challenging things. Like, what's the thing about diamonds? Like, because they're so hard, there's so much pressure, they come out. I think it's going to be like that.